Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. I am finally ready to sit down and film this video again. So if you didn't know, my hard drive, my external hard drive that had all of my videos from like most previous video up until like maybe a year ago, like every video in between was literally on that hard drive. Not just the video, but like all the unedited clips. So like whenever I wanted to go back and like watch those clips, like it was all in there. Literally so many clips you couldn't even imagine. And then I also edited this video. Like I already filmed this video and I had like maybe 2 hours of footage. Like I was on a roll talking. I had to refilm some clips, so there was a lot of footage. Cut it down to like a half hour of video and that's gone. It's unsalvageable. I went to Geek Squad. I googled. Somehow I feel like it's my fault, like I did something for this, but it's gone. It's fine. Life goes on. I ordered a new hard drive. So fingers crossed this never happens again. Anyway, welcome to today's video. Let's start by saying I don't really watch YouTube, which is kind of ironic because obviously I post on YouTube or whatever. I sometimes will go through my subscriptions if I'm bored and want to watch something, but usually I'm reading. I don't really like to watch videos. I will say that I religiously watch Destiny and Haley's channel just because, I don't know, I'm always clicking on their videos. I love their recommendations. I love their personalities, and I just like their channels are two that I continuously go back to and watch weekly. So with that being said, Destiny, she's posted a couple or a few tier ranking videos and she has inspired me to make one of my own. I asked you guys what you wanted me to tier rank and I got a lot of responses, but I wrote down the 3 top ones because I got those ones repeated a lot. I'm not going to name the other 2, but I'm going to do them if this one goes well. So maybe we'll do like a little series of this, but the first one, we are going to tier rank Book Talk Book, which Destiny has done. I love her tier ranking videos. She is just so entertaining and funny with her opinions and just like her personality, and when she's like talking about books, like I don't know, I just love watching her videos. We're going to be ranking Book Talk Book. So I tried to look up on tiermaker.com. I'm pretty sure that's what everyone uses. I looked up Book Talk tier ranking or whatever, and some of them were kind of like outdated Book Talk books. Like I feel like there's more recent ones that have been up, so I made my own. So we have about 61 books. The only thing is I took from another Book Talk tier ranking thing some of their tiers. I took some of their wording for them. I made a few my own, but I thought some of those were funny. So shout out to whoever had some of these. But I did add my own tiers because I have my own thoughts about how I want to separate each tier. Let's screen record. I have, as you can see down here, about 61 books. You've probably seen all of these. Okay, let's go through my tier ranks before we go through all of these books and my opinions. What I was saying in my last, when I recorded this the first time, I feel like this is more personal, my opinions on these books, because I'm tier ranking them more specifically rather than just saying my opinion on it and my rating on it. Like this is like literally how I feel about that book and where I would rank them in comparison to the others. So this is gonna get interesting. I have a lot of thoughts and opinions, but okay, let's get into my tiers. From the bottom, we have TBR. This is very self-explanatory. I have not read this book, but it is on my TBR. I want to put it on my TBR. I'm gonna read it one day. That's that one. Then I simply am not picking this book up and you can't make me. These are books that I have not read yet and I probably will not as many times as you tell me to read it. If you tell me I have to, like, it doesn't matter. I probably won't pick it up for one reason or another. We will get to those reasons. Then I have Don't Make Me Talk About It. So that one is a book that I have read, but we're not talking about it for whatever reason it is. The reason will probably be that I read it and I just simply didn't like it, or I have opinions on it that I've stated before in previous videos and we're simply not talking about it. You're not gonna make me talk about it. It's just not happening. Then above that I have Did I Like It? And Would I Recommend It? Sure. These are books that I have read that I have thought were like, I guess, enjoyable. I didn't love them, but like I read them, they were okay, but I would recommend them. Just kind of controversial. Not controversial, contradicting. These books will have tropes that people like, say like enemies to lovers I don't love but other people do. So if I read one of those and I didn't really like it, but like I know hyped up for a reason, obviously it's on Book Talk, it's popular, like other people will probably enjoy it, just it wasn't for me. So that's that one. Then above that is It Was Enjoyable but Forgettable. I feel like this one is gonna have a lot. I mean, I know kind of what's gonna go in each tier at this point, but this one, it happens a lot for me. I'll read a book, I'll really enjoy it, I'll close it, and then maybe like 2 days or less later I forget that I even read it, or I forget what it's about. Like someone could ask me, oh, did you like that book? I'm like, yeah. And they're like, why? Like, what's it about? And I'd be like, I don't know. I literally don't know. So those books, they were good books, they were enjoyable. I just literally, I could forget about them. It won't really bother me. Like, they're not gonna be like stuck in my brain. I'm not running to tell people to read them. Above that is just straight up exclamation points. I have this because some books, when you close them, they give you an exclamation point feeling where you have to like sit, process the book, like you loved it. You just have to like just sit on your opinion and sit on your thoughts before you rate them. This is like a feeling I get after a book where I have like no thoughts, no words. I just straight up just feel exclamation points, but it's not at the level where it's like 5-star, 6-star, like literally like 1,000 stars. Like it's not at that level, but it's really close. I feel like you need an in-between between it's forgettable and enjoyable or whatever and 5-star whatever is up there. You need an in-between, and that's my in-between. And then at the top I have would sell my soul to experience this for the first time again. This is self-explanatory as well. Books that I literally wish that I could just erase my memory of. Everything about the book, just erase and blank out my memory, my mind. That's the last tier. We are going to put these books in each tier. We're going to talk about them, how I feel. I'm nervous even though I already filmed this video, but I'm excited. Let's get into it. Okay, starting off strong. I think these are all in a different order than they were last time. Not that it matters because you are not watching that video, but anyway. My Dark Vanessa. Starting off very strong. This is going to go into, I am simply not picking this book up and you can't make me. If you know what this book is about, it's a rough topic. It is very much intense. I know Lauren read it. I don't know if she ever finished it. She made me read a couple pages of it and I literally can't fathom this book. I don't think I'm ever gonna read it. It has tough topics and it intrigues me like a little bit. Like there's a little inkling in my brain that's like I kind of want to read this, but like I don't think it's ever gonna happen. So we're putting that there. I'm not gonna pick it up. Next is Verity. We're going from one extreme to the next, but I think I'm gonna put this all the way at the top. Truly wish I could erase my memory of this book, not just because it's hyped and it's popular and it's just one of Colleen's like best-selling. It's more than that. It's literally, I've never read a story like this where I needed to get to the next page. It was both disturbing at most points and like a lot going through it, like the manuscripts if you've read it, but then it's also like there's a romance in it and it's kind of all messed up. Just what it's about, I wish I could experience it again. The ending, plot line, like I've never had a story like that. I've never read a story like that, and I think about this book at least once a week, twice a week. This is a really good one for me. The Deal. This is the first one in the Off Campus series. I love the Off Campus series. I don't talk about them or like the series that often. I've only read the first 4, like the main core of the series. And The Deal, I'm pretty sure, is Garrett. They kind of all blend in my head other than the last one because the last one has a different trope kind of than the first 3. So Garrett and Wellesley, I'm pretty sure her name was Hannah. I remember them. I remember kind of what they were about. I loved them. I remember closing each book and like really excited to get to the next one. It was a really good series. So I'm gonna say exclamation points because it wasn't forgettable, because I love these series even though they're all kind of mixed up in my head. I remember closing each one, like I said, and just being excited for the next one. So I did love that series. Okay, Ugly Love. This is one of my favorite Colleen reads. Not my favorite, but it's like very much up there. I read it right after Verity, so like back-to-back bangers. I remember speeding through this as well and just needing to know what happened, but I don't think I would need to sell my soul to experience it again. I don't think I need to experience it again. I would reread it, but I don't think I need to start over and clear my memory of it. So that's gonna go with exclamation points. Twisted Love. We're not talking about it. Don't make me talk about it. You guys know my opinion if you've watched my reading vlog. Okay, speaking of Colleen Hoover favorites, this is my favorite book from Colleen Hoover, November 9th. I wish I could reread this without knowing what happened every November 9th. I love this book so much. I need to reread it soon. I remember just being completely obsessed with the storyline. The way Colleen did this storyline and these characters was, I just remember being so obsessed. I think that's literally my favorite Colleen read of all time, which says a lot. From Look Up With Love. This one we're gonna go to did I like it and would I recommend it? Sure. Like I said with this tier, this is a book I would recommend to people. It has Grumpy Grumpy. It's a slow burn. It's a very popular book that I know a lot of people like. And if people ask me for the tropes that are in this book, I would be like, okay, read Look Up With Love. It's a sports romance, but I didn't like it. Morgana Zapata for me is too much of a slow burn. I don't have patience for it. It's such a thick book, and for being so thick, you wait so many pages before you get to like any like sparks or literally anything happening, and I can't do it. But again, some people like that and I understand that's just a difference in opinion, so I would recommend it. Just didn't like it, which is kind of an unpopular opinion. Everyone I know that's read this book is like obsessed with it. So Hook, Line and Sinker. I just recently bought this. I loved It Happened One Summer, so I'm very excited to get to this one. I'm excited to read about Hannah and her little story. I know this trope in this one is friends to lovers, which I'm excited to read about. I haven't read a good friends to lovers in a while, and I heard this one was really good, so that's on TBR. Beach read. Okay, so this book, I always rave about it, but knowing how I feel about Emily Henry's writing right now with people we meet on vacation and book lovers, knowing how I feel like those were boring and just not really for me, I would put this in exclamation points. Even though it's a 5 out of 5, in my head, remembering it, I read this literally 2 years ago. I remember loving it, but I feel like 2 years ago me is a different mindset and different opinions and thoughts than me today. So I'm not gonna sell my soul to experience this for the first time again, because if I did that, I feel like I wouldn't appreciate it as much as I do now and just like have such high thoughts and opinions opinions on it. Like, it scares me if I were to do that because I don't want to ruin my opinions on this book, because from what I remember it being so good and loving it, but I'm scared if I tried it again now I would be disappointed. So it's gonna be an exclamation point because I remember just being so obsessed with it. Spanish Love Deception. Okay, this is gonna go into did I like it in would I recommend it? Sure. I remember reading this and I remember it taking me so long to get through it. I absolutely did not love it. It's enemies to lovers, workplace romance, fake dating, all those tropes, and those are all tropes that a lot of people like and a lot of people love this book. So again, if people said they wanted a good enemies to lovers and fake dating vacation type of book, I would recommend that one if people wanted those tropes. Just for me, I remember reading it and not enjoying it like at all. Another Mariana Zapata book, Colty. Is that how you say it? I think it's Colty. I would put this in I'm Not Picking It Up and You Can't Make Me because I know how I feel about Mariana Zapata books, but I like to give authors the benefit of the doubt, especially when it's recommended to me so much. People know how I feel about From Look Up With Love and another Mariana Zapata book we'll talk about, but they still say like give her other books a chance because other ones are just amazing, and I trust what you guys recommend me. So I'm gonna put it on TBR. One day I will get to it, probably not anytime soon because I don't know, all of her books are just boring to me and just too slow, but everyone's saying it's so good, so I will put it on TBR because I trust you guys. Inheritance Games is also on my TBR. It's been on my TBR for a very long time. I just haven't been in the mood to read a book of that genre. I've been in very contemporary romance mindset, but when I feel like I want to read a book like that, I'll probably go to it. I know it's young adult. I know it's like the movie Knives Out, which I love. I definitely want to read it one day, and I know a lot of people love it. I know it's a series too, so I'm probably gonna get to it eventually. Okay, Better Than the Movies, again, TBR. This, I am pretty sure Haley Pham gave it a 5 out of 5, and then I also was talking to someone else and they just read it and gave it 5 stars as well. I heard it's rom-com-y. It's like a really cute contemporary romance, if I'm not mistaken. So I definitely want to get to it. I definitely want to read it. I've never read a book by her. I think her name's Lynn Painter. Is that what that says? The cover is really cute too, so I definitely want to get to that. So that's on my TBR. They both die at the end. I think I'm gonna put this here. I've seen too many negative reviews about this book that it's boring, people can't get through it, it's underwhelming, predictable, like just nothing like too crazy. It doesn't really stand out. I don't think I'm ever gonna read it. It's really not on my radar. I've seen it literally everywhere, but I always see that it's like kind of underwhelming. I don't really think I'm ever gonna pick it up. It's not really enticing to me. After, we're not talking about it. Don't make me. I don't really support the whole After thing, the movies, the book. Kind of weird to me, so that's that. Midnight Library. So this I have the same like opinions and thoughts on, just like they both die at the end. Every review or opinion I've seen of this book is that it didn't live up to what people thought it was gonna be, and it was like underwhelming as well. I will say the name and the cover of it is really cute, but I just don't think I'm ever gonna read it from what I've seen and heard about it. Daisy Jones and the Sick. We're really staying down these bottom 2 tiers. I have not read this. It's on my TBR. I just received this. I'm waiting to read this because I don't love Taylor Jenkins Reid's writing style. She's not really for me. It's an unpopular opinion. I know everyone loves her. I just can't really get with it. But the thing is, this takes place in like the I forgot which era it is, but like a band, and nothing about it is intriguing to me, but everyone says that they love it. It's like literally a 5-star read for so many people, so I did put it on TBR. I do have it. I'm going to read it, but I don't know when. People Meet on Vacation. This I'm gonna put here. It was enjoyable. I remember enjoying it. I remember it being kind of boring, underwhelming. The whole plot twist at the end was very underwhelming, but it was completely forgettable. Like, I know I recommend it like when I made my video book recs for like summer reads, or if you want a trope that's second chance romance, like that's like what that book is. So I do like say like read this, you might like it. So you think I would put it in, I would recommend it, but it was forgettable. I just don't think about it often. I don't really love that book. Again, Emily Hunter's kind of like underwhelming to me. She kind of like has fallen flat for me, but that one goes there. Malibu Rising. I know I just said I don't love Taylor Jenkins Reid, but this book I did like. I liked the setting of it. I liked the story much better than the other ones from her that I've read. So this one I would put here. It didn't give me the exclamation point feeling, and I don't really recommend it often, but it was enjoyable. I don't really think about it. I remember enjoying it while I was reading it. I always forget that I did read it. I mean, it was good. I liked the setting, like I said, but yeah. I stick with that answer. We Were Liars. You guys already know what I feel. We're not talking about it. Funny you should ask. I actually have this. Literally, I bought this book 2 weeks ago. I think Haley Pham I saw reading it, and I literally, as soon as I saw she was reading it, I saw the cover of it, and that just sold me, so I literally bought it that day. It's been on my dresser next to my bed, like under a little candle, because now it's a decoration on my dresser because the colors of it are just so cute and the cover is just perfect. Aside from how pretty I think the book is, I haven't read it. It's on my TBR. I'm excited to read it. I'm just like obsessed with the cover. I don't want to not like the book, which I don't know. I feel like I will like the book for what it's about, but just for right now, I'm using it as legit a decoration on my dresser. Every Last Word, this book, I'm putting in exclamation points. I do forget that I read it, but I remember reading it and it being completely not what I expected. There was like a plot twist, there was a romance in it. I thought it was just gonna be like a cute literary fiction type of young adult read, but it was much more than that, and I personally loved it. It was very easy to read, but it was a lot more than what I expected it to be, and I always forget that I read it. It just surprised me a lot, that book. Shatter Me, this is the first book of it on my bookshelf for so long. It's been on my TBR for so long. I just don't think I could commit to a long series right now, as we know. I feel like if I started it and I liked it, I could get through the series quick, but I have so many other books on my TBR right now that I don't want to commit to it, but I know eventually I will read it. A Thousand Boy Kisses. I love this book. I gave it a 5 out of 5. The thing is, I wouldn't sell my soul to experience it for the first time again. You would think I would if you know my opinions on it and stuff, but the way that this book broke me and had me like legit hyperventilating, I had to literally close my Kindle or turn off my Kindle every like half hour because I couldn't catch my breath. I was crying that hard. Can you imagine? From a young adult book at that. I'm gonna put in exclamation points. I don't think I can go through those emotions again. As much as I love the book, I don't think I'd be able to do it. I'm gonna put it there. Even though I love that book like so much, I just don't think I'd be able to read that again, especially not for the first time and feeling how I felt. Bunny. So when I first recorded this video, I had to look up what Bunny was about because I said the book intimidated me, and then I was like, wait, am I thinking of the right book? And I was. It's like a sinister group cult, something like that. I don't think I'm ever gonna read it. I'm not picking it up. You can't make me. I still think I'm intimidated by the book. Let me know if you've read it because the preconceived thoughts I have of this book are just so negative. Let me know. Circe. So I'm sorry if you love this book. I will never pick it up. I can't do Greek mythology. I've already been roped into one Greek mythology book. I don't know what it is about Greek mythology. One, my brain can't really comprehend all the names, the stories. I feel like my brain has to work overtime to keep up with what's going on. I don't think I'll ever read another Greek mythology book or anything that has a hint even of Greek mythology in it. It's not for me. I simply just don't like it in the nicest way possible. I just don't care about it. Going from that, we have Song of Achilles. I did read this. I have a reading vlog on it from maybe a year ago. This book, we're putting it there. I liked it because it had the romance in it. You know, I'm a sucker for any type of romance, so I did enjoy that part of it. I did enjoy the writing. I felt like it was very beautifully written, but the whole prophecy, Greek mythology, I was not caught up. I couldn't comprehend. I just, in here, it doesn't really work. I would recommend it. If someone wants a Greek mythology romance, I would say, yeah, Song of Achilles. But for me, it was eh. I can't do it. It happened one summer. I just recently read this. It was in my most recent reading vlog. I loved it. I am going to put it here, exclamation points, because it gave me that feeling. It's a enemies to lovers. It's a grumpy sunshine. I don't like those tropes, the both of them. They are just so overdone for me right now. But like I said in my previous videos and my wrap up of my reading vlog, for what it was and the tropes that it was so good. The main character guy, Brendan, was so understanding. I loved him. I did get those exclamation point feelings after reading that book. It was very, very well done. Cruel Prince. This one's tricky because I heard the first one's not that good, which this is the first one, and I think it's a trilogy. But then I heard the second and the third one were literally like amazing, but the first one's like not good. I will put it in my TBR. Maybe I'll get to it one day. I do dip into fantasy like sometime, but I think it'll stay on my TBR because I'm kind of intrigued by it. I'd say. If we were villains, I just recently went to Barnes & Noble and I picked this up. I took a picture of it to add to my Goodreads TBR. It's basically about like poetry, a play, and then there's also like a crime involved, which was really interesting. All that combined together. So it's on my TBR for right now. I don't know when I'll ever get to it, but I think it's written kind of like a play as well, if I'm not mistaken. I might have made that up, but it looked interesting. So TBR. Alright, Punk 57. Didn't love this one, and I do love Penelope Douglas writing. This one for me, I didn't like really the setting and like how intense the characters were. But I'm gonna put it here because I enjoyed it. I enjoyed the storyline of it. It's about like pen pals and then them meeting and not knowing it's like each other's pen pal or whatever. It was like they were really intense characters. I didn't really like that. Kind of forget about it. I don't really recommend it. I don't really talk about it. I forget that I even read it sometimes. But I know it's popular. Or it used to be popular. I used to see it all the time. A Court of Thorns and Roses. If you've been here for a while, you know how long this has been on my bookshelf and on my TBR book pile. Just like the Shatter Me series, I don't want to be, what's the word? I don't want to be tied to a series right now, especially that big. Like some of the books in this series, I've seen them and they are thick. So I've heard it's amazing. I've heard I need to read it and I'm going to, I swear, but not right now. After I get through a good amount of books, I will get to the big series. So that is definitely on TBR. Okay, Neon Gods. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure this is another Greek mythology, like kind of romance type of book, and you know how I feel about that. I'm probably just never gonna read it, so you just can't make me. All You're Perfect by Colleen Hoover. This one's an unpopular opinion. I'm gonna put it there. It's a trope about like a broken marriage. The main woman character, Quinn, I believe her name was, I like literally loathed her. Like I hated her, and that's like strong feelings for a character. I didn't like her like at all. The main guy character, Graham, I was literally obsessed with him. He was like perfect. But the thing is, I didn't love it. I don't like the tropes that it was. The writing was amazing, obviously, because it's like my queen Colleen. So I read it super quick. I think I read it in like a day and a half. I was like intrigued to keep going. It just like wasn't my favorite storyline or like plot, I guess. But the thing is, I do recommend it, and I would recommend it because I know other people would love this book and other people like are obsessed with this book, and I have recommended it to many people before and they end up loving it. So I think that that's where I would put that. Six of Crows. You guys, if you know me, you would think I would put it up here, right? If this was Crooked Kingdom, I would put it up there. This is not. This is exclamation points, and I put this there because fantasy is hard for me. The first like 100-200 pages are difficult because you're setting up a new world, you're learning all these new names and people and characters, and it's really hard for my brain to process. I feel like I'm making myself sound so dumb with trying to process like Greek mythology and like fantasy worlds, but it's true. Like it takes me a while to understand, and that like bores me a lot. Like I didn't think I would like this book, so I literally almost DNF'd it, but I kept going, and by like the second half of the book I was flying through it. I was obsessed with the characters, and the story, character development was literally incredible. So I put that there because I loved it. By the end of it, I had to read the second one and I got the exclamation point feeling. But after like knowing everything and reading the second one was literally one of my favorite books of all time. The first one though, I'm gonna put an exclamation point. Red, White, and Royal Blue. I have not read this. It's a lot of people's literally favorite book of all time. I'm never enticed or feel like I should read it. No one ever even tells me to read it. I just see it many places because other people like it. I'm not one for royalty in books, but I will put it on my TBR. If one of you or a few of you say I need to read it because I've seen it a lot, I'll read it, but it's never really on my radar. But it's a lot of people's favorite books, so that's why I put it in TBR, because maybe I'll read it. A Little Life. This book, I'm not kidding, every time in Barnes & Noble I pick this book up and I just can't check out. I don't know if I'm emotionally stable to read this book because I've watched reading vlogs, I've seen reviews, and every single like reading vlog I've watched of this, they are just like so unstable, but then people give it 5 stars. Even though it broke them. And that's how I felt about Thousand Boy Kisses. Like, I literally cried so hard and I was so broken. That's a young adult book. This is legit literary fiction, not young adult. It's definitely gonna be more emotional. So I put it on my TBR because one day I want to be able to get there. I just don't know when that will be. You've Reached Sam. If I'm gonna be honest, I saw this on book talk pages. Like when I was creating this, I just literally searched like popular book talk books and I went through and I just used those books, and this was on every single one that I saw. I've literally never seen this. I've never been recommended it. I don't know what it's about, so I'm gonna put this here. I'm not intrigued to read it or even know what it's about, so I could be wrong and might want to read this and put it on my TBR, but for now, probably not gonna pick it up. Okay, A Touch of Darkness. So this, just like If We Were Villains, I believe it's called. Yeah, I went to Barnes & Noble and took a picture of it and I put it on my Goodreads TBR. I don't know what it's about. I don't remember reading the back of it. I'm pretty sure it's fantasy. I literally don't remember, but I definitely want to read it. All right, Dance of Thieves. Like I said, I just picked a fantasy, so I did read this. I'm gonna put it here though, only because the romance in it was good. Obviously, I'm a sucker for romance. I love fantasy written romances like a lot, but the fantasy part of it was like really boring to me. I've said this before, and sometimes fantasy feels like a history book to me and I just didn't love it. It did take me a little bit to get through it, but I did love the main character's romance and that whole thing. I do forget that I read it, but it was enjoyable somewhat, so I put that there. Every Summer After. Okay, I just read this and it's so similar to Love in Other Words, like I said, where I don't think I would sell my soul to experience this for the first time again, even though I was like happy tear crying by the end of it. I literally stayed up till 3 a.m. to finish it. I'm obsessed with it. Gave it 5 stars, but it's such competition with Love in Other Words. You guys know how I feel about that, so I'm gonna put it here. I remember closing it and just like having to process my thoughts and like not having any words to even explain how I felt, so I think exclamation points are perfect. The Silent Patient. This one's going up here. I was so like taken aback and just completely shocked when the plot twist in this book came, and I know some people could predict it. I didn't, and when it came, I literally closed the book and I had to just sit there for a second, and then I had to go back a little and just like reread what was going on. It was just like, I've never been so played by a book before, but in such a good way that I would want to sell my soul to experience it again and just blank my memory of it and be able to experience that plot twist again. And I think it was just so amazing. I love recommending this book to people when they want like a thriller plot twisty book. Literally so good. Normal People. Okay, contrary to popular beliefs of mine and maybe unpopular opinion, this didn't give me exclamation point feeling because I feel like it was so just monotone, the book. Even though I love what it's about and I love the characters, the adaptation is literally one of my favorite shows, I don't think I would sell myself to experience it again. I feel like reading it once was enough, but it also wasn't forgettable. Like, this is a book that will stick with me for probably forever, so I'm gonna put it here. Even though it didn't make me feel the exclamation points, I don't think that it's right to put it anywhere below that, but I also don't feel like I need to read this again for the first time. Like, don't need to clear my memory, sell my soul, experience this for the first time again. I think once was enough, but I loved it. The fine print. I know with my review, I gave it a 4 out of 5, but this is one of those books where I had to think about what I felt after and think about my rating after and kind of let it process. Like the 4 out of 5 I think was just like a quick reaction to how I felt about it, but then after processing the book and like thinking about what it was about and stuff, like I feel like we should normalize doing that. Like when you impulse rate, like that's fine, but if you want to go back and re-rate the book, I feel like you should be allowed to. I'm gonna put it here. Just like the other books that are in this, it has tropes that people would love: enemies to lovers, workplace romance, Grumpy Sunshine. I just don't think it was a book for me, kind of. Like I kind of enjoyed it. I think it was like an F book looking back at it. Book lovers, we're not talking about it. That's literally all I have. Conversations with Friends. Okay, so this I'm gonna put in TBR. I haven't read it yet. I feel like I have to be in a Sally Rooney mood to read this book. I know that it was made into a show. It's a show or a movie. I think it's a show. And with the Normal People, if it's anything like that in that adaptation, like this show was so similar to Normal People, so I feel like this would probably be very similar to the book, if I'm not mistaken. I literally haven't read it or watched it. But I feel like when I get in a Sally Rooney mood, I will read this book because she just writes so differently than anyone else. And I feel like I have to like be in a Sally Rooney mindset at that point, because sometimes I feel like it can feel boring, her writing. But I feel like she has like a deeper meaning when she's writing. So I don't know. That's how I feel. It's on TBR. One day I'll get to it. I just have to be in the mood. Do I have to say anything about this one? We know where I'm gonna put it, and we know how I feel. I literally would sell my soul like over and over again. Like every time I read this, I would sell my soul again to read it again for the first time, experience it for the first time. So there's that. On Honeymooners, I don't talk about this one a lot. Honestly, I forget that I even read it. I remember enjoying the plot. I also remember it being like 2 separate plots, and that kind of threw me off. But I do love Christina Lauren's writing, so I enjoyed reading it. And I remember reading it quickly, but I didn't love it. I didn't like there was 2 separate plots. I didn't love the main characters together, but I liked the way that they write. So like the storyline like went quick for me, and it was like a quick read. But I just always forget that I've read this. I didn't really love it as much as other people did. The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue. It's been on my TBR. You guys, if you've been here for a while, literally on my bookshelf for months at this point, and I'll get to it. I don't know why I haven't picked it up. 1, I forget that I have it. 2, I don't really know if I want to read a book like that right now, because I heard it's like boring to some people, even if maybe it's just the first half is boring. I just heard that it's kind of boring, and I'm scared it's gonna put me in a slump, so I've been putting it off for so long. But I really need to get to it because it's been on my TBR for so long. It ends with this. I read this book 2 years ago at this point, I believe, and I'm really happy that I did, because I feel like if I read it now with all of the hype that it has, and like it literally being one of Colleen's most hyped books, I feel like I would have a whole different opinion on it. And I remember reading this. I buddy read this with Lauren literally so long ago, like before the hype, and I remember loving it. I went into it without knowing what it was about. I don't know, it was so good. I wouldn't sell my soul experience for the first time again. Like I said with some other books, in the exclamation point, like 1 time was enough. I'm definitely gonna reread it, and when the second one comes out, so I'm gonna put it in exclamation points. But yeah, from what I remember and everything, I feel like I remember a lot of what it was about because it's so popular still. Like the second book's coming out, everyone's still talking about it, people are still continuing to read it. But I will say I'm happy that I read it when I did. That was my first Colleen read that like sparked my love for Colleen, because her writing was just so good to me. The Wall of Winnipeg and Me. I'm gonna put this here. Just like from Look Up With Love, it's just hardest part of for me. It was so drawn out. I feel like there wasn't a lot of speaking. I remember reading it, and the main like guy character, like he didn't really like use his words like that much. I don't know. Really, I remember it being way too slow of a burn, and when it's like that, I feel like it's so dragged out that I don't even feel the connection at that point. It's just like, why are we doing this? I would recommend it if you like a sports romance. I don't know, literally just wasn't for me. Reminders of Him. This is also going to be an unpopular opinion, but I think I'm gonna put it, I don't know. Here's the thing with this. I don't like child tropes. I don't like single parent tropes. I don't like reading about those things. Child trope more than single parent. Single parent, I would probably read that over child. I don't like children. I don't like reading about them. They don't intrigue me. I don't like those tropes. I don't like when it's focused on children. So that's kind of mean, but the thing is, this book was so good. It's Colleen's most recent one. If you don't, you definitely know, but if you don't know, the romance was good. Colleen's writing was good. It had me crying. I have a reading vlog to this. I just don't love the tropes of it. So this is hard for me. I don't know where I want to put it because it didn't give me exclamation points. It's not forgettable, but I liked it more than but I'm gonna put it here because it wasn't forgettable. I wish there was one in between those, or in between the exclamation points and the forgettable, because this book isn't forgettable. I would recommend it because it has the tropes that a lot of people would like child, single parent. It just wasn't for me. Sweetest Oblivion, TBR. Been on my TBR for a while. I want to read a mafia romance so bad. I haven't yet because it scares me. 1, I don't like enemies to lovers type of tropes, at least right now, because I feel like the enemy, the grumpy guy, is like always like so just like a lot, and I feel like the mafia is probably that to like next level. Like the mafia guy he's got to be like really overbearing, protective, manipulative, crazy, and that scares me because I don't really like men like that in books right now. So it's on my TBR, but I should have read it when I was like in that trope and like liking that trope, but I didn't. But I'm downloaded on my Kindle for so long, but definitely on my TBR. The Love Hypothesis. This is gonna surprise some people, but I wish I could sell my soul to experience this book for the first time again. This is a fake dating, enemies to lovers, all of the tropes that I was just saying I don't really love, Grumpy Sunshine, but done so right, like so written so well. I love Dr. Carlson. Olive was a main girl character, which usually the main girl characters I don't love. Like sometimes I feel like they're trying to be too quirky. I loved her. I loved them together. I loved their little flirtiness, even though they were like enemies and like they don't really like each other. It was so good. I sped through this book and I wish I could read this for the first time again. I just remember loving it. I still love it. I love this book. To Love, Jason Thorne. I've seen this book. I'm not really intrigued to read it. I know you don't judge a book by its cover, but it's giving me rom-com. It's giving me boring. It's giving me predictable. I don't think I'm ever gonna read it. I'm just gonna put it there and just leave it there for now. Alright, A Good Girl's Life to Murder. That's not what it's called. A Good Girl's Guide to Murder. This was a 5-star for me, but I don't think I would sell my soul to experience it for the first time again because one time was enough. Just like some of the other books in this tier, I enjoyed it. I enjoyed the storyline. I liked the murder mystery. It was young adult. It was an easy read. I was intrigued the whole time, but I don't think I would need to read it again. I think one time was enough. And it was very entertaining and I loved it. I don't think I need to sell my soul and I don't want to experience it for the first time again. The Hating Game. Like I said with the fine print, we need to normalize thinking over how you feel about a book and changing your opinions over time. And when I first read this, I loved it, but now I'm putting it here. The thing with this book, it just got too much hype, and I know that's like not, I guess, like a nice thing to say because good for Sally Thorne. I didn't like the movie. I think the movie low-key ruined the book for me, but either way, I feel like it got so much hype that I just started to like not like it. I don't know if that's like anyone else, but I just, looking back on it, it's not like a favorite of mine. So I would recommend it. It's enemies, lovers, workplace romance, fake dating, like it has all that in it, but just like don't love it anymore. Heartstopper. Okay, I've seen this a lot. One, it's a graphic novel. I don't like graphic novels. Those aren't for me, so I don't think I'm ever gonna pick this up, but I do know that a lot of people love it. Every time I've seen someone that's read it, they've given it 5 stars and they have like all these emotions about it, but I don't think it's a book for me, so I don't think I'm ever gonna pick it up. Probably can't make me, but that's there for now. Where the Crawdads Sing. Probably another unpopular opinion. I never read this. When I first started reading, this book still like had a little bit of hype. I remember everyone telling me to read it, and I just, reading the summary of it, it didn't intrigue me. A lot of people also said it was so boring. The movie is coming out with the girl, I forgot her name, but she was in the Normal People show, so I probably will watch the movie, but I don't think I'm ever gonna read it. Seven Husbands. You've been here before, you know how I feel. We're not talking about it, and you will not be able to change my opinion on it. I don't care. Atlas 6. Okay, I'm gonna TBR this by the same author as Alone with You and Ether, and I just recently read that book. Her writing intrigues me, so if it's written anything like that book, like kind of like reading in between the lines and stuff, I'll probably read this. I know it's not a love story, like it's not like Alone with You and Ether, but I probably would give it a chance. I enjoyed her writing, I think. I don't know, it was really like hard for me to grasp that book and kind of like make my own opinions and thoughts on it because it's so like different from anything I've ever read, but I think I would read the Atlas 6. Looking at my tier ranking, I wonder if it's the same as the other ones that or the last video that I filmed. Alright, the top tiers are the same. Exclamation points are the same. It was enjoyable but forgettable. I actually flopped The Unhoneymooners and All Your Perfects, which I could see. Okay, my other one I put To Love, Jason Thorne TBR, but I kind of hated on it in this one. But everything else is the same. So I think I changed a few opinions, but not like too dramatically. But yeah, I feel good about this tier ranking. These are my thoughts on these books. I feel like this is more of like an in-depth, like specific thoughts on these book talk books. So if you enjoyed this tier ranking, I definitely want to do more. I mean, it's fun to talk about it and do book videos like this, so let me know if you did. If you didn't, I will end the series here. We won't tier rank anymore, but I think it's fun. I have 2 other like ideas of tier ranking, so if you did like it, I feel like those could be fun, but we'll get to those another day. Let me know your thoughts on any of these books, these tier rankings. I don't know if you have any opinions on it, let me know. I hope you enjoyed. I enjoyed it. I am happy that I got to film this again. It's not the end of the world, like I said, even though this was a long one for the second time, but whatever. I hope you enjoyed, and I will see you hopefully in the next one. Bye!